Oh, I can't. Can you see me? Because I can't see my head anymore.
Yes, you're fine. You're fine, Mona.
It's like I'm cut.
Very, very welcome, everybody, to the Soul Fueled Living podcast. I'm doing it in English again, the second time, because I have my teacher with me. I still call her my teacher because she was the first one who introduced me to Kundalini Yoga. And she's just like a very, very strong woman who's a teacher for everybody in her life, even if it's on the mat or besides the mat in real life. So she's still my teacher. So I'm going to introduce to you Mona Ahmad. Mona Ahmad in human design language is a 1-3 manifesting generator, which is also funny, Mona, because I didn't tell you yet. I have the same profile. I'm also a 1-3 manifesting generator. The one is like really investigating life, needing to become your own expert, not taking things from a guru or anyone else, but like really you are the investigator and you are doing you are asking questions all the time just to be sure, like to gain your own knowledge, to be your own knowledge. And then you take all this knowledge and you're gonna master it by experimenting with it. So you are the experimenter, or the martyr, called also the martyr, which means you try things and then sometimes they go well and then sometimes you fail and you get up again because you have the resilience for that. You get up again and to try something again and then again. So it's like really first really investigating all the knowledge to get to really get to the depth of things. The depth of things is really important for you, and then like really experiment with it. That's the 1-3 profile. And a manifesting generator, it's like what I explained before, like really responding to life and responding to life in a way that you can really express it already in the world, like in a very direct manner. And what's also special is that Mona has 8 of the 9 centers defined. So she's really defined. And then there is one center that it's totally open, like no gate, whatever, which is this G center, or the center of love and direction. And she has, because she has so many centers defined, she has a quadruple split. And a quadruple split means like you have 4 parts in your human design, in your energy flow, that are not connected to each other, which means that you are always looking for the energy to pick up the energy from somebody else, and then your energy can flow like better. So these are already a little bit of small pieces of the puzzle. You have the right angle cross of tension. The right angle cross of tensions means that you have a really very deep depth and drive to know and to understand things. It's also supported by your 1 line. And you can feel the tension because you have this depth, and you can feel the tension to really express this depth, to really bring it out, to find the right skills and the right timing also to put it out in the world. But you are here to bring this depth to people, like really in a deep manner, bring them to themselves in a deep way. It's all about well-being, this energy. And for you, it's an important lesson that you have to learn in this life, is to really relax away from the tension, to seek for your talents. So it's the wreck of tension. It's like having this depth and seeking how am I going to put it out. Okay, and this with this totally open identity center, like, who am I? Who am I? What am I doing here? What is love? Like all these questions. What is my direction? What is my identity? So that's the human design language. In the human design language, this is Mona Ahmad, but she's so much more. So, Mona, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, that's a bit difficult. I used to introduce myself before you, you know, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a yoga teacher, I'm a painter, I'm a writer, and then came a time where I didn't know anymore who I am because at every moment this is changing. So it's a process of evolving all the time, and I feel it with me. Like I'm not the same person you met, Chris, last year, maybe. And I'm open to this because I'm growing so much with everything that's happening around to me and within me. And it's like you said, I really observe things and I try to learn from it, even through my grief, my joy, whatever is happening. Like I'm just open to it. And those are my best teachers till now, really. And yeah, so who am I?
It's a
I'm just
difficult.
gonna answer. Let's go through this and then we'll see what people will find out. Who am I? Because, you know, I paint also, and when I paint, it's always an abstract. And when people ask what it is, I don't know. What do you see? And every person sees something different. And that's the beauty of it. So I keep this also an open gate.
If people would ask me who is Mona, I would say Mona is love itself. For me, you are the total expression of love itself.
Love is, yeah, we are all love. We are all love. The thing is, we forgot that we are love. And we start to rediscover this. And for me, I've always told, you know, even in classes, love yourself, love yourself. But it was so easy because it was reflected in somebody's eyes that was there for me. And I saw so much love. So it was really easy. And when my husband left, I always say when he traveled to the other dimension, it's like, who am I? Am I really loving myself? No, because it was like I was depriving myself from everything. And now this process has taught me how to restart to love myself. Like even I used to read, oh, there are people that you rent to cuddle. What is this? No, but yes, some people don't have somebody to cuddle them. And it's also important for them, even if they give exchange of money, money as an exchange of energy. So yeah, a lot of things has changed, and I discovered that love is much, much deeper than I ever thought. It's really an ocean, and we are just drops on this ocean. When I need this love, it's always manifesting in a person, somebody that I knew that's reminding me who I am, because I'm not looking anymore for, you know, a twin soul or a soulmate or all of this, because I think I'm enough. I'm enough the way I am. And I want to grow in other ways. You know, a tree comes there, but when it starts to grow, the branches go everywhere. It's not stuck to somebody else, to another tree. It has her space to grow. And this is what I feel, whether it's through my writing or painting or growing in my own self, within myself. And this is like, yeah. I don't know, when people see me, they say, wow, you look good. And for me, it's like, why shouldn't I, you know? I write about grief, but it doesn't mean that I'm miserable. It's like people write about joy or smile all the time, and then you hear they committed suicide, and you think, how? They were laughing all the time. It's because I know everything in life is yin and yang. You know, without the night, you will not be rested during the day. You cannot function, you cannot do anything. So we all need this. And even a tree to grow, it needs this dark place to be in. So you need the soil. And for me, it's all a part of the journey. So when I write about tears, crying, all of this, it's to show that it's okay. It's okay. It's all okay. So love is also a part of this, that you can embrace your tear and smile. My shamanic teacher, trance dance teacher, was told me, he said, if you don't cry to the extent that you love, or laugh to the extent that you cry, it means you never lived.
Wow.
And you know, Chris, the first time this happened to me was when I lost my brother. And it was my first precious loss. You know, it took me a long time to let go, you know the story. So I was sitting in the room crying with my sister, our eyes out, and suddenly we started laughing hysterically. And she said, "Shh, somebody can hear us and they will say we're happy." I said, "No, this is what's coming. It's also opening the heart, so let it be." And I said it always in the classes, if you remember, if tears come, let it flow. If you laugh, just laugh. And I know how difficult it is for people to laugh also, not only cry. So for me, it's also on my journey to teach that your tears are equal your smiles, and it's all okay.
Yeah, and it's what you have given me, me and so many other people like whom you taught, like the transformational yoga way, like everything is good, everything is okay. You just let it out, whether it's tears, whether it's laughing, whether it's like pumping our chest like a gorilla. It's like these emotions. And it's so funny when I now look at your human design and everything falls into place, because you have the channel of emoting. You have a channel which is purely defined. It's giving the pressure from the root. It's giving the pressure to like really provoke people to go and feel. It's like really this root pressure in your defined root, which is saying, go and feel, come on. So you do everything in yoga, you did everything the classes were meant to make us feel. And then on the other side, there is in the emotional center, there is in the solar plexus, there is the feeling, the moodiness, the high and the low. Like it can come from one moment to another. It sweeps you off your feet, and then 5 minutes later you are laughing. And I remember it's such a good expression that you always told us, like, you have to poo it out, and you don't keep stirring into the emotion. You just poo it out, and then it's gone, it's out. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
but
it's
you have
just
to
like
go
a
through
baby,
it.
If you've been a mother and you had a birth, you will see that when the baby's out, all pain is gone. Because the emotion is there, it's hidden somewhere. And as long as you're scared of it, fear is what holds you back. The moment you look at this emotion and you say, hey, I'm not scared of you anymore, then it's gone. Then it's gone. For me, it was part of my journey, actually. I think that was my biggest fear in life. Because I always thought I cannot deal with it. I cannot handle it. As a child in my own environment, it was like, if you don't cry, if you don't scream, if you don't pull your hair out, you're not sad. And I'm the kind of person I like to taste this. And if I need to scream, I would scream it out, but I don't need to show anybody to do something just because somebody told me it's this way. And actually, I think this is why when my brother passed away, I couldn't let him go, because the first thing, I didn't say goodbye. And my father thought I was too weak to go and handle this. So it took me 15 years to let him go. And slowly death came on my way many times. And I found that, no, I'm not scared of it. I can befriend it. But it's not this friend that will not, that will not always hold my hand and be nice to me, because it might come back and strike me. But I have to be open with it. And with time, I will forgive it. Because only by understanding something, that I can be able to deal with it. So I have to look it in the eyes.
Yes. In that respect, you really are the warrior, the fighter. It's also in your root center on the other side, like really to understand depth, to understand death, life and death, like the cycle of the Satanama, which you always taught so well. Like, you really have this in a very deep way, this warrior spirit, this battle for higher values, and also for independence, like to be independent. And I remember you sitting in class also and explaining why we like the culture in Kundalini yoga was like
the
dogma, but you were the opposite of dogma. You had seen so much dogma in your life, and you needed this. because I believe you always get what you need to live your human design, to live your blueprints. You needed to see this restrictions to really be able to really bring out this energy of you, this fighting energy, this independence, this battle, and this to like really liberate people, also liberate them through this provoking these emotions, because it's
I think
very
it was
liberating.
also liberating, this technique itself, because for me Kundalini yoga was like, for me it was like the first thing that liberated me. Like I found my freedom to when you meditate and you breathe, actually the breath is the most important thing, because it brings you back inside. And when you connect to this breathing, you can think clearly and see what is it that my heart is telling me to follow, and not, you know, pleasing other people. It's what really my heart is telling me to do. And for me, this technique, whatever, was like liberating. And when I went to a teacher training, it was like, no, putting me again into another box. And that's why I created my own, which I always said, it's not a teacher training, it's not a training, because we're always trained to be something, and this is to untrain you. For me, it was more like a retreat. And even if I think about it now, I would have changed the name from transformational healing yoga to just transformational journey. Because instead of sticking into another name, yoga or healing, I'm not promising anybody about healing, or this is their own journey. As I always tell the student, if they enter the class, you know, this is like an apple. I can explain what is the apple, the color, the flavor, everything. But if you don't dive into it, then you don't know how it tastes. And you might like the apple and you might not. So,
yeah.
And the amazing thing is they came with so many questions. And after the class, when I asked, do you want to ask something? They're always like, huh? No. So it's
no, the questions were always
nearly 15 years teaching this and practicing before also. It's like, it was an amazing journey. And I still realize it, Chris, when I'm really like, I need my yoga. I'm not doing it daily, but when I sit on my mat, it's like, I shouldn't hold this back. I should keep on, because now there's this fight, the battle, you know, about the dogma and all of this. And I think we all didn't have this because we didn't attach to the dogma. So it's like you say, I take the things, I clear them up, and I share them again. Because this is always something I said, it's not the clothes that you're wearing, the color, or covering the head, or it's all from inside. Don't follow a teacher. It's just, you know, you had teachers in the kindergarten, you don't keep on following them, you grow from them. And this is our mission in life. It's not for you to be holding to me and saying, Mona is my teacher. No, I never said, Chris is my student. Did I ever said this? No. We are all here to learn from each other. We are all teachers to each other. So this is the journey. This is the journey.
Yeah, I always loved very much the metaphor of the lighthouse. Like we are all lighthouses, and sometimes the one lighthouse shines a little bit brighter when you need it, and then in other times another lighthouse shines a little bit brighter when somebody else needs it. It's like
we are all lighthouses, because if I always said it always, if I bring a candle and show it to you without the flame in, there's no light. But the moment you become conscious and cleanse yourself, work on yourself, you know, stop looking at other people, gossiping about them, what they need to change, what they need to fix yourself, and then be this pure mirror to others. They will see it directly. Oh, this is what I need to do. You don't need to tell them, do this, do this, do this. You know, even when I used to say letting go, now for me, I never use this word again, because maybe I don't want to let go. It's okay to walk with whatever you have, but remember, don't get attached to it, because it's just going to hold you back. So yeah, I know a lot of people who follow the dogma, they are like really, I would say, disappointed with Yogi Bhajan and all of this. May he rest in peace. When I came to this Kundalini Yoga, he wasn't even there. So for me, it wasn't about him. I went for my experience, and what it gave me I went for a teacher training because I felt the difference when my mom passed away and my brother, how easier for me was it to let it flow, to learn from it. And actually everything that comes through in life is there to push you to grow higher. It's not there to make you sink. And for me, when my mom passed away, this was the moment I decided I'm going to a teacher training, but it wasn't to teach, it's for me to practice wherever I am. And I say it's yoga, whatever it is the connection to your breath. Maybe for you, painting is this connection. Maybe dancing is this connection. Maybe flowing is this connection. Maybe speaking to others, serving others is this connection. So it doesn't have to get a name to be something. And not because it's a hype, we follow it.
Yeah.
It's because maybe we need this, maybe not so. You remember when you entered the lighthouse and you saw everybody hugging, the first thing you said, I don't want to hug. And I said, it's okay. You don't need to hug. It's not a part of it. They start to hug each other. And then slowly you started to hug each other also. It's okay to have these walls. And only when you are ready, you can either remove this wall or keep it. It's also there for you to protect you from something you went through. So nobody can remove these walls for you. And if you ever go to anywhere, to wherever, somebody tells you to do something, don't do it unless you want to do this. It's like I always said, you're not a victim until you decide to be one. And actually, can I speak about the journey through that? What has been there through this 3 years?
Yes, very much about the victimhood and how, this is the most important task we have in this life. It's like to really overcome our victimhood and not be a victim anymore.
Also,
so yes.
Teaching by example. Because if you remember when we did this weekends for the transformational healing, and I was like, okay, I'm starting another level 1, another level 2. It's a growth journey. And I had so many people coming and registering and all of this. And the classes were like really booming because for me, the lighthouse was a house. And again, I'm going to say something. This is the house and the light is the soul. If you allow the soul to manifest and not always stay holding it to things that doesn't matter, then you're a lighthouse to somebody else. Maybe it's your child at home. Maybe it's somebody you meet in the street you don't even know, but you leave this imprint.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a word, it's whatever. So life is also this journey, and I've learned through it how to flow like water. Flowing water is a source of strength because with time, it also can dissolve all stones on the way. And for me, this last 3 years, when I decided, I'm following my intuition, I stopped everything and I said, I want to travel with my husband. This is my feeling. You remember?
Yes.
And then everybody was like, first thing is like, no, what am I going to do? What people are expecting? I'm like, no, I'm just going to follow my heart.
Yes, you took, because maybe the other people don't understand now, maybe like you really took your time at that time. You stopped the classes, even though, your classes were full and we needed, or a lot of people thought, we really need this. We can't go without. But at that time, you really decided like, I'm going to take a sabbatical year.
Yeah.
I want to go travel with my husband. So I just
the
wanted to
beautiful
explain.
thing is everybody took it heartedly and they said, Mona, you're all really teaching us what you always say by example. You're walking your talk. And actually, it was amazing because the universe found another uteruses to carry the space. So you were all there. It wasn't like I threw it away and I walked. It was like I'm stopping and there you all showed up. The lighthouses were there.
Yeah.
So that year I stopped. I traveled with my husband. We went to Brazil for 1 month and we went to Egypt, and it was in our plan to go to Japan, but we came back to Europe. Everything was closed down. It was the corona. And then 3-4 months later in September, on our wedding anniversary, 40th wedding anniversary, we discovered that he had cancer. It was incurable. He had 6 months to live. 4 months and he left. And for me, this was my life. He was my soulmate. He was everything. It was like just before I was telling you, he was really love. Because the moment we came back from the doctor, we were walking in the garden holding hands, and all he could say is, Mona, I don't want dark colors. And no gray, no blacks. I want you in colors. And I want you to travel the world. And if you want the house, keep it. And if you don't want it, sell it. And as I told you, he was calling the gardener, I want the flowers here and there. And he was telling me, you're going to see the flowers whenever you go this side or that side. And I'm like, no, we're going to be together. All I want is to travel in your own eyes. But this was the reality, and I had to deal with it. And for 4 months, I sat next to his bed. I held his hand, and this was the greatest honor. For me, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to sit next to somebody and be able to guide them with love, because I didn't let him feel for a moment that he was sick. Actually, maybe I also didn't want to think about this, because it could have stopped me from serving him. He was the one who's sick. It wasn't my time to cry over me. It was my time to be there for him. And he went very peacefully. Very peacefully. The doctors at the hospital said, you know, somebody in his case, he would be in more taking doses of morphine, and it's so much pain. Chris, he didn't take any morphine. He wasn't in pain, and they said he was an inspiration. He was like in a meditative state most of the time. And I would say if it wasn't 24 hours, it was 23 hours a day, I was holding his hand, just sitting next to him. So I'm really grateful that I had this space. After he left, it wasn't easy for me, because I'm used to him there. He was carrying me with so much love. And I discovered I always felt like a queen. He was my crown. He was the one that put the crown on my head. And I had to learn all those 3 years since he left how to maneuver through this pain, how to learn from this pain, how to make it something useful for others. So I started writing my books, and I have 5 books. I'm still editing 4 of them. The English one, the first one I published is in Arabic. And you know what's, I remember once you told me, Mona, if you write a book, the title should be Whispers. I don't know if you remember, Whispers from the Heart. And actually, when I chose the title for the Arabic book, I wasn't thinking about this, but it came like Hamsat min al-Alib, which means whispers from the heart. And for me, it was like, I want this book to speak from the heart to the heart. I don't want it something difficult. I know you wanted to ask about the book. Maybe I'm rushing.
No. It's the book is it's for me now. You're not teaching anymore, but the book is like, or the books you are writing.
Yeah.
And also like with this title, it's such an inspiration. Now that I know this Open G Center and this, you're flowing of love. You're like, that's also why I think you always see hearts everywhere. And that's why I set like this title, like
I
you see hearts everywhere
and
you
show
post them
the
on
hearts,
Facebook
and they start to see them. So
and
I receive hearts, not only the ones I see, but from all over the world. People send me pictures of hearts. Like when I saw it, I remembered you directly. And this for me is like so enriching. Like really, this is what we seek in life, to be rich. This is the real richness.
You are the queen of hearts. The queen, you are the queen of hearts, because you are a queen also in human design. You are the queen. You have
actually, my friends always say this. And it's like I said, a queen is meant to serve others, not to be only served. And when you serve from the heart, it's always coming without expectations. So I wanted to say my journey through death, because in those 3 years, I lost my husband, my father, my brother, my sister just recently, 3 months ago. The mother figure for me, who was my auntie, she was like really a mother figure. My teachers, my Kundalini yoga teacher, my Satnam Rasayan teacher, my trance dance teacher. So for me, Chris, this was like a real sign, like you have to be on your own. You have to find your own way. So when you ask, who are you? I cannot say who I am. I can say a lot of things, but who am I and who am I not? I cannot define or stick into one thing. And the thing is, when I lost my sister, I've been teaching people all my life to to breathe, and you know, you don't need this and that. Everything you need is inside. And suddenly it was like I needed my space. I couldn't hug anybody. I couldn't hold to anybody. I just didn't want anybody next to me because it felt like I'm suffocating. And I called this doctor, and I was just telling you before, but it's good to share it with others. And the moment he said, you know, you have a nervous breakdown, I started crying because for 3 weeks I wasn't healing from coughing and all of this. And it was like, yes, please give me, whatever you want to give me. And maybe I was so tired, I didn't want to do the work myself, because every time I think, okay, I'm walking with death, I'm befriending it, I'm holding its hand, it just hits me again and runs to the front, and I have to follow. So this was my feeling this time. And I bought the medication, and the doctor was like, you know, it's somebody everybody takes. And for me, when I see you're somebody who knows what's happening, and the only thing is that you need some strength, you need to smile again. And you know, since my husband left, I was saying, I miss my smile. I miss Mona. Where is Mona? I'm not recognizing myself. And this was a journey into self-love also, because I started to see how easy it is to see love when it's reflected in somebody's eyes, but when you're on your own, it's not that easy. So it's been a journey of taking care of myself. And that's when people ask, do you want to teach again? Not on a yoga mat maybe, but I'm already teaching in the world. I'm doing this, you know, in my own way. I might go back to teaching, but I don't know if it's on my way. So I just keep it open. Everything is flowing. So the second day, I threw the medication away, and I'm like, I woke up with this feeling like, what am I doing? I'm the one teaching people how to breathe. I don't need this. I'm not going to go into this. And I came out of it. So there's always this person, I don't know where it is, or it's love that's bringing me back to myself, because I give love to others, but I'm also receiving love. So this energy is always flowing there. You're never alone, even when you think you're alone. When I think I hit the bottom, it's like a trampoline. Something is making me jump even higher than I was. So I want to say, whatever happens in your life, don't be a victim. You have the power within to come out of it.
Yeah.
To come out of it. And I decided 2 weeks after my sister passed away that I'm going to put my books together, because my husband didn't have an opportunity to hold them. My dad, who didn't know how to read or write, but taught me how to read and write, didn't have an opportunity to hold it. So I have to hold my own books in my hands. Whether people will buy them or not, it's for me that I'm doing this. It's a part, because before I was doubting, should I? But maybe it's my ego, but why do I need it? Do I want to be famous? No, it's her journey that I'm writing. And it's like I said in the book about death and all of this. I'm not here to teach you. Every grief is different. Every grief is unique. I'm here to show you what I'm experiencing. Maybe it will inspire you somewhere. But I'm also telling you, befriend it, but it's not a friend that's not going to be disappointing you. It might disappoint you a lot of times, because life and death are the same seed. They are not separated. We always think, you know, why it's me? Why are my loved ones dying? But I said it also, when you're blessed with so many loved ones, you're going to lose many. It is also a part of the journey. So it is also a blessing. And when I think of them, I think about the happy times, the gratitude that I carry in my heart, that I met them, I learned from them all. They are all my teachers. So death has been my greatest teacher till now. Death has taught me a lot of things that courses didn't. Death has taught me that I'm able to deal with it. I'm not scared of it anymore. I still cry. I still have to digest it. I watch what it's doing to me, and I also journal it. So.
And is the book that you have written now, or the books that are still
Coming.
under revision?
The book that I've
It's
written
about
now, I
that
started.
specifically, or is it about
The book I've
overcoming
written
that?
now.
Or yeah.
No, I have them physically. I've been writing since I was a child. I know, and it was on my path to speak. I've always seen myself speaking in front of people, though I had to overcome this fear of speaking because at home, you know, we were 8 children. We were not allowed to speak. And I was born, when I was 4 or 5 years old, I was put into boarding school. Internet, you call it? So since I was 4 or 5 years old till I graduated and got married, I was in a boarding school. And there you couldn't also express. You weren't allowed to show emotions or talk or speak, whatever. So my way to speak was writing and painting since I was a child. And I remember when I was studying Netherlands here, Dutch, I took always 99% because I wanted so much to learn it. But for me, it's not flowing from the heart. So I can speak it, but then it's holding me back. It's my 5th language. So actually, that's why. And when I went to the modeling exam, I was so trembling, I couldn't speak. I had to take something, you know, to suppress all those emotions and feelings to be able to speak. While now I can speak openly and freely. And still, in my family, when there was somebody passing away, I was the one who's speaking. They always chose me to speak, whether I was carried to the podium or I walked by my feet. So it was always on my path. When I wrote something at school, the teacher always stood up and read it to the others. But what I write is not something I think about, Chris. It's flowing. And I sometimes, before I signed, like transported as received. Because when that channel is open, you said it. I just have to trust and everything is coming. When the channel is open, they are flowing and I write them down, even if it's 5 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock. And if I want to remember it afterwards, it's gone.
Yeah.
So I just registered, recorded at that same moment. And my books, when my sister passed away and I decided it, the first thing I put is the Arabic book because I have my writing since I was 14 years old. And it was a poetry about love, like you say always, not about war, about bringing people together and how they can come together. Like whatever is happening in the world, for me, maybe for some people it's not okay, but for me, it's neutral. I cannot love this and curse this. I have love for everybody. And it's like Gandhi said, you know, an eye for an eye and everybody's going blind. It's the anger within people that brings them out to judge or say, hey, what did you do? And the trance dance, actually, there was this exercise that we had to do. You have to fly and grab the first shoes that's there. And I got the shoes of a man who was like 44, where my foot was 38. And you had to dance in that shoes. And maybe the man got my shoes, which was really small. So you had to experience the journey of others. And of course, you couldn't dance in their shoes the way you dance in yours. And this is also a lesson for me. So unless you see somebody from where they started, this soul, actually, it's not a face. When I had so many students coming in, I never asked, what is your journey? Where are you coming from? What's your religion? Who are you? And people came to my class also without judgment. So when I looked at somebody, I just see the soul, and I could really read the whole story of this person without them saying, hey, I'm Chris, I'm this, I'm that. And that's the way you could carry everybody. So it's also a part of life, not to judge. You remember in the full moon circle, I always said it. There are no strangers, only friends that didn't meet. And it's just because the earth has borders, it doesn't mean that it has borders. Whenever it wants, it can shake it all away. A small earthquake can shake us all away. So what is your identity? Many things happen in life when you lose your own earth, and then you have to find again, who am I? The essence is there. It's just like an onion. There are so many peels that you have to take away, but only you can do this. Because only you can see what is it that I need for myself. People can push you, but sometimes you don't need to be pushed. Even to do a Kundalini class and all this journey, to practice on my own, it was too much for me. Sometimes I took it like a medication, you know, when they say, and I know a part of it at the beginning when my husband passed away, I didn't want to let go. So I knew this is something that is helping me and I don't want it. I don't want it. I just want to be covered in black and sit. And now I realize was the time when this seed needs needed to be on its own.
Yeah.
It needed to be on its own.
Yeah, I also want to, like, if it's okay to come back to that, like, because you were really very, very close to your husband. We remember him also, like, dropping you off at yoga, picking you up again. You
Carrying
were like,
my stuff.
yes, carrying your stuff. He was never into the yoga himself, but he
No.
supported you in
He
everything you
supported
did.
me in my journey.
And so he really was a very special man, and a very special man for you. He really
He was
complimented
and
you.
still is.
And still is.
Because
yes.
even his absence has taught me so much.
Yeah. And I can't but wonder, like, with your human design, for me it's the same. My husband has a split and I'm complementing his split, so we're like touching each other,
Us
which
also.
makes us a whole. And I don't know the human design chart of him, but
we were also like this.
I can imagine that he was connecting the dots for you in many ways. Like when you were with him, you felt like a whole. And when you are now totally, like, when you feel separated, you are not separated, but when you feel separated, you are again all those pieces. Like,
but that was the thing that I needed to gather when he left, because for me it was like, it's like I wrote it in a poetry in the Arabic book, which will not be translated. And it says, when you see me, it feels like you're seeing a diamond, but actually inside I'm broken glass. And this glass I had to bring together in a way not to injure myself, because it is glass and it might bleed. And this was the time when I needed this cocoon over me. So.
And that's funny, because I also see it in your human design chart, in your, like, you also have, you can, in your chart, you can also see a path that you are coming from and going towards, like it's your south and your north node. And in your south node is this codependency. It's this, like, wanting, and from this wanting and this needing, like, to be seen and to be held and to be felt, you are really longing, like, for this one person. And it's almost like, in the shadow side of it, it's a codependent. It can be a codependency, like, I'm doing the stuff because of the other, like, because he or she wants or finds this nice or beautiful, I'm going to do it like that or be like that. So this is the codependency, which is the shadow side of your south node, which is the shadow side of this needing and wanting. And it's evolving to the north node, and the north node is retreats. So you've been evolving from this codependency, which in the strong side is interdependency, like we are all related. This is the strong side from this needing. But you have moved to in your life now to really, like, the retreat. And the energy of retreat is an energy which is in the throat. And it's talking it's the language for all the people. It's the end of a whole life cycle, a whole, for everyone, like a collective ending. It's in the throat. And so, which means you are reflecting. And when you are in retreat, you are reflecting about your own story, but about all the other stories of all those people. And the story comes, the story of living your life comes to an end here. And this is where the storyteller begins. So you are the storyteller.
That's so funny, because you always told me you're a storyteller, remember?
But
and for me, it was
true.
like, what stories am I telling? But is this true? It is a story and not a story at the same time.
It's the story of humanity.
Yeah, exactly. It's what's been going on for millions of years, but when it happens to us, we take it personally.
Yeah.
And that's why also in the 10 pages that flew the day, my sister passed away, to remind me who I am, it was like, you're not the judge, but at the same time, you're not the criminal. So you're not here to judge what is happening. And you cannot embrace your laughter and push away your tears, because it's all one at the end of the day. It's all one. And I think how I tortured myself after my husband passed away was like, I longed to his physical presence. I wanted him to be here. I wanted him
It's
to hold me, as he did for,
codependency, yeah?
40
Yes.
years.
Yeah.
Because since I was 17, we got married, and he was 32. And for me, since I was a child, it was always, I'm marrying somebody who's much older. Because if you bring a girl and a boy who are 15, the girl is more open in her mind, it's a different maturity, right? It's a different maturity. You can see it between girls and boys. So
I was also 17 when I met
yeah,
my husband.
yeah. But then this was my path, and then he came and he was 32, and it was like, this is what it's supposed to be. And he was one of the greatest teachers that I learned from, because he carried me lovingly in everything. He didn't push me to do anything. And it was like, whatever I wanted to do, he was there for me. Even for the trainings at the end, he was traveling with me wherever I went. So I go to the training and he was there doing his things during the day, and then at the evening we were together. So this is a blessing. This is a blessing. And I hope every woman and man will get the opportunity to find their own soulmates. But they're also, nobody comes like this. Communication is what makes us this. Because at the beginning, let's say when I got married, I was missing the part, I want you to kiss me in public, even like, hug me, whatever. And for him, it was like, we can't do this in our community. And then he started doing this. I taught him how to do this. Especially, I don't know if he knew he was, so his dad passed away when he was 7 months, and then his mom got married when he was like 1 year and a half, maybe. So they had to go, all of them, to a home like where their uncle put somebody to raise them up. So I gave him also a lot of love. He was love, but I also learned from him how to love freely. I was the person like, oh, somebody did this. How can you forgive them? And he would say, forgive and forget. So all of those things, I have to give him the credit, because he taught me this. He taught me this. And when I
And
came to the point where I could separate.
Because of this, he gave you and the world the opportunity to grow in who you've become, and in although you don't like to hear the word teacher, like the lighthouse.
Okay. We are all teachers.
Yes,
that's what I say.
And
my
it's because
5-year-old
of this
nephew, I always told him, you were my first teacher, one of my first teachers. How? He said, he came, I don't know if you know Guillain-Barré syndrome. It's a virus that hits you, and then your body is fighting itself. It thinks something from the outside, and you get paralyzed in seconds or maybe hours. So he was 5 years old, very active, and suddenly everything in his body shut down. Luckily, his lungs and heart didn't. Otherwise, he'd go to a coma. Some people go to a vegetative state for years, and they don't get out of it. We only knew the virus because it hit him. So we get to, it's called Guillain-Barré syndrome, actually. And then he was in Lebanon, whatever, the doctors there treated him right. So he came, it took him maybe 6 years, 7 years to start to walk again. Slowly, but with a lot of physiotherapy, ergotherapy, all of this. When he came, I was here, he came with my sister, and I was like, so depressed. I don't know how I'm gonna face him, see him, I entered the room. He was sitting on a chair, 5 years old boy. The TV was on, MTV was on, remember? MTV, music. And all he could use was his head. He was shaking it, dancing with it. And I looked and I thought, if he has this soul and this courage and bravery, how am I gonna show him something else? It's his journey, and I only need to be there to support him. So I always tell him, you were one of my first teachers. And all the dedication he put into everyday physiotherapy and all of this gave a reward. And he started to walk again, and he's totally normal now. So teachers are there. They are there. But I cannot say, you know, you're my student. No,
No.
you're my friend, you're a sister, you're all of those. You can say I'm your teacher, but I cannot claim that you're my student because you're not mine. Nothing is mine.
Yeah, so beautiful. And it's because of your husband's like ability to put you on this throne and to support you in everything that you got to really live your design that
Yes.
and still are. I mean, very much.
Yeah. But I also got to serve, which maybe others don't have this opportunity. For he was the one working and I was a housewife. You know, I got married at 17 and he supported me in opening the lighthouse. He paid for it. And he said, Mona, if you get the money, you get the money. And if you don't, I'm there to support you. So it wasn't only emotionally and physically, but
yeah.
also
everything, all the whole package was
yeah,
there
which is
to
something maybe not everybody can afford this or offer this or whatever. And for me, because it was offered to me this way, I keep on offering it. For me, it's a gift that keeps on giving, but it doesn't mean everybody has to do it the same way like I do it.
yeah. But it's also something, I believe, it's also something you manifested yourself. You manifested him in your
Yeah,
life.
probably.
Like I
But he also
manifested
told
my
me,
husband also in my
yeah,
life.
yeah, of course. I attracted it, I think.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, it's just like we are manifestors, we are creators.
Manifesting
But the thing is,
generators,
we
yeah.
keep on thinking the creator is out there and we wait for him to do things. But we have the ability to create. And it's like we always said, God, G-O-D, is the generator, organizer, deliverer, or destroyer, because this power is in each one of us. We have the moon and the sun. We have the prana and the apana. All those forces are within us, and we can create, like the nuclear power. You can turn it into weapons or you can turn it into electricity. Everything has, and we are the ones who decide what I'm going to do with this. Do I want to be a victim all my life or do I want to rise up? I'm the star. And then, yes, I will be the star. So this is a power that we all have. And I'm here to show it to others, but not by coming to them and say, hey, look at me, I'm there. No. And actually, when I don't do this, people come to me. They ask me, even if I'm the gym, are you a PT? No. But the way you're doing it, can you show me, please? Yes. So it's
Yeah,
everywhere. It's everywhere.
it's amazing how I always find it so. It's like human design when I know you and you talk and I see your human design here lying before me. It's like always proving itself again. Like I
It does
see
because
it. It's
before we
you have the
started,
channel, the 2145. You are here to materialize things, to put like when you talk about manifesting things, and it's not like the way they do on Instagram, and it's like no, but it's like you really have it's a manifestor channel. You are a manifesting generator like I am, so which is a generator who's able to manifest, but you also have this manifestor channel which is really like purely feeling the things in your the willpower and the motivation from your heart, because it's always motivated from your heart. They call it the ego, but I call it the ego heart. And from this motivation from your heart, this like being in service, like I said, it's not just for you, it's like being in service, and it can come back. It's like it's supporting you, and in supporting you, you're supporting the other, and it's like always this how do you call it, energy exchange.
yeah,
Yes,
it's energy exchange.
it's
Yeah.
pure energy exchange, but not everyone has this channel. I always think like when you say it so easily, it's because for you it's your energy, you are working with your energy. But when I would, for me it's not the same. I have other strengths
Yeah.
to use to put my manifestation into the world. But
yeah, but again, this is how we manifest, or this is what completes everything in life. Because not everybody is the same. Otherwise, we are all copy-paste, and that's what people are trying to do. I have to look as a certain actor. I have to be this or be that. No, this is who you are. This is who I am. And this is what makes it perfect. Because I might be inspired by something in you. You might be inspired by something in me. But if we are all copy-paste, how are we going to inspire each other?
It would be not
we
be...
all have our tasks to do in life. And this is what love is about. If you go to a garden, not all the flowers are the same.
I was thinking about your soup.
Yeah.
If we would all be the same vegetable, it would not be a Mona soup.
Yeah, exactly.
I would give money to just taste your soup again.
Well, anytime. You don't need to pay for it, you know that.
Yeah, but most of the times you are not.
Yeah,
you are
actually,
not
for
living
me,
in Belgium.
really, the lighthouse was a house. Really, it wasn't a yoga space, it was a house. And even when I went, the first one in Broderedestraat, when I went to get the cushions, my husband was the type that couldn't sit on the floor. So he chose those Moroccan ones. And he said, listen, you might have students whose hips are not open. He wasn't a yogi, but he thought about those things, even if it's a little bit more expensive. And it ended up like students wouldn't leave at midnight once my husband came looking for me. And I'm like, what's wrong? He said, Mona, 100 missed calls you have. And then he said, listen, we'll start the contract again. 10:30, you have to leave. You're not allowed to stay more. But I couldn't, because if there was even one student that needed to, for me, yoga or this journey on the mat is so transformative. So if you come in, I cannot tell you, go out, finish, the time is finished, there's a slot. No, it's just, maybe things are coming out that you need to digest in this space. Maybe you want to talk, maybe you don't want to talk, maybe you just want to sit with yourself and hug your cup of tea or your bowl of soup or whatever. This is your space. And this is what it should be. For me, this is what it should be.
Yeah, it's
and
the same.
For all of us, I was asking somebody once, why is it not in the communities that we have a home where people can come together and share their own, like you're saying now, you're telling me about my human design, and it's only confirming things to me. It feels so right what you're saying, even before we started the session. Like, yeah, that she's really pinpointing those things that I feel already and I know. So if we could come to a space where we could exchange this.
It's your inner truth, eh? It's your Satnam. You know it, but we've driven so far from it.
Yeah, but this shows that what you're also explaining, what the method you're using is right.
Yeah, and
it feels right.
And it's
because just before we started, my daughter was like, "What is it about?" I said, "I don't know, Mom. We'll see, and then I can tell you."
Yeah.
So yeah, in the Kundalini community before, I'm just gonna say this because this is also important. Yogi Bhajan had this peanut hour, where women come together and eat peanuts together for 1 hour, just sit, because they felt that women needed this space. And I had the feeling from going to retreats where it was only women or women with men, that when there is a man involved, and it's not the fault of a man, a woman directly becomes jealous, or she wants, and when it's only women, they hug each other, and it's a different environment. But it's not the fault of a man. It's the fault of the society that we're always trying to be one and equal.
Yeah.
But we are one and equal when we stop pushing each other. When we start to communicate, what is it that I want? Because a man can do one task, but a woman can do 1,000, and you cannot expect him to do all of this for you. But yeah, we have the hormones that are changing all the time. So if you explain to him something that he cannot even feel, how can he understand? But if you start to shout at him all the time, there's no communication. And this is what's driving us. Also the breath, I'm going to say the breath, the patience to breathe through whatever happens. And if actually the loud voices, the screams, all of this, it's not needed. I see people in the street, a small child doing something, and they start to scream at them, or couple fighting, and I'm like, what is this? That's the way away from the heart. The more you come to your heart, the softer your voice is. Look at lovers. Do you see them when they first meet screaming at each other? No, they whisper, whisper, whisper. So the more we scream, it's more the anger from the liver, and it has nothing to do in a relationship, in a communication. Nobody can understand when you're shouting. And if you notice, when somebody starts to shout, the other ones shout louder because they want to be heard. Louder, louder.
This was
But
how I
want,
was raised. Yeah, this was
yeah,
how I was raised.
yeah,
I come from
yeah.
my
But that's,
my
and you
father
know
was
what?
from
They say people,
my father was from West-Vlaanderen, and which is a part in Belgium where they have loud voices. It's not meant in a bad way,
yeah,
but because he had a loud voice, my mother had to overcome
speak
that
louder,
one,
yeah.
and then I had to overcome that
And
one
you were
to
so
make
tiny,
myself
and you were so
heard.
tiny.
Yeah,
So
and
you
now
probably
still,
felt most of your life you didn't have a voice.
yes, I
And
did.
this is what's making you sit there. This is what's giving you now the power to speak
Yeah.
and have a voice.
Yeah. But still, what I wanted to say, still when, because it was something that I was taught, like really I had to yell to be heard. And I'm still often here in our own family, I'm still often being told like, Mom, don't yell. Don't have to talk so loud. Don't yell. And it's like, okay, they have to
Yeah,
remind me often, like, okay, you don't
yeah,
have to yell. I speak loud because I learned it this way.
yeah.
And I
But
know
that's
it's
there's
something
a
that I really
different,
want to work on.
yeah,
Like, be softer,
yeah,
speak softer. You don't have to be yelling all the time.
yeah. But there's also a difference in the tone that you can feel it. Because sometimes you need to speak loud. When I'm sitting in a class that's full with people, I have to speak louder, but still you can carry the same tone. It's not like you're screaming, you know, when people are mad, the vibration is there. And when it goes out, you can't bring it back. And sometimes it creates wars.
Yeah.
It's also miscommunication. Miscommunication. Everything is miscommunication. And then all you see is people screaming from both sides. And then it makes them more angry.
Yeah.
So what is the energy we want to give to the world? If you want
Softness.
peace and love, this is what you need to give.
Yeah. Mona, is there still something you want to like?
You asked me for the book to bring it, so
Yes,
I wanted
yes,
to show
show
it
it.
because
Yeah,
it's
because
also a
it's
baby that I create. I did the own cover. It's one of my paintings. And it's called Whispers of the Heart. So it's in Arabic. It's not going to be translated. This is a picture, I don't know if you can see, from India in Amritsar behind the tree, but we also incorporated in that. And I wanted to say, I wanted the book light also. So I made spaces in between.
oh,
And I
nice.
chose a color that's soft for the eyes. And whether it was the black or the beige, the off-white is really because I wanted people to breathe through the book. I didn't want them to feel like they need to be followed, you know, with this stick or whatever. No, I wanted them to take a breath in between the book. And this is the way also the English books are going to be done. So yeah, I've brought them. They're all there. Like you said, the first book is coming. It's about death, my journey. What happened those last 3 years, what I've learned through all my life. And I hope it will inspire somebody out there. Even if it's one person, like you said, I used to teach the class, even if it's one person. And at the end, I had to move into a bigger place because it wouldn't fit anymore. And I didn't want to give people the stress, like you need to register or cancel or pay every time, you know, a monthly or whatever to hold to people. And I think this freedom allowed those souls to come into our space. Until now, we're still family. We still carry each other, even if we're not in that space. And this is so beautiful to see and witness, really. because this connection that is love, nothing can cut it. Unconditional love, nothing can come through. And if we all bring what we have into this world, even if it's a small, tiny thing, we can shine a light into this world. Because inside the cave, all you need is one match, and you can see through. So we are all lighthouses. Let us shine this light.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful even to this space that was the lighthouse that brought us all together. So thank you so much for this. This was beautiful.
Thank you, Mona. Yeah, the lighthouse is
also.
within, the lighthouse is within, but it's
it is
because you planted the seed and you helped people like really come to their inner soul again.
Yeah, but this was also mutual because you came into the space.
Yes,
you created the soil. You were the seed that wanted to be planted. And this happened to me when my husband passed away, because I also allowed the seed to grow out of this pain.
In the retreat, being in the retreat, and yeah. So we can remember who we are.
Yeah, always remember who you are. No matter where life takes you and you think, I'm lost, there is this seed inside that always brings you back to your roots. And I know it because of what I went through. And if I look at all my life, I've been away in a boarding school. I went through civil war, where we had to listen to the radio to see which streets were safe, which were not. People were killing on identity, on religion. For me, religion is kindness and love. Always look at the person in front of you. Where is this? Not the way they look. What is their soul carrying? What is their journey? How is it? You cannot judge any book by its cover. You have to look into it. And just don't run into the end of the book, because life is going to take you there. Go on your same pace. Since I was a child, even when I eat, it's slow. So, and they used to push me, bring the sandwich here. You've been eating it for 2 hours. So, but I'm still the same way. So never let anybody change you, who you are, when you really know who you are. And I think this is the crisis everybody's going through now. Who are we? And then people go to the West, to the East, and they think, oh, it's my name. I need to change it. I've never carried a spiritual name. I asked for one just for the curiosity of the partner who was going with me to the training, all the time asking, hey, did you get your spiritual name? I'm like, no. And in 3 days, it was there. And another person who wanted the name so much, it was months and she didn't get it. But I've never used it. And I've always said, but why? My name is Mona. In Arabic, it means to wish for, or the gathering of wishes. So why would I change it? It's the energy that you carry everything with. You don't need to change who you are. You don't need to follow something or that thing to be somebody. You are enough the way you are. And this is what I like to bring to the world and share it with it. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, for the reading also. For me, it confirms a lot of things. And hopefully I will also hold to this thread of love that connects us all, because we are all like a mala in this thread. And if this thread opens, the mala is, and just think about life. It's not here to torture you. It's a magical place where you can play. People go to a amusement park. They pay for a roller coaster. They start to scream, but when life offers this roller coaster, they don't want it. So a lot of things are free. If you're working because you need a home and all of this, remember to breathe. Because the moment the breath is gone, you will need to pay for that oxygen to put it on your nose. So please breathe freely, be who you are. When you want to scream, scream. When you want to cry, cry. When you want to dance, dance. When you want to just lay down and say, fuck it all, do it. But come back to your feet. Remember who you are.
I'm gonna take that to heart, and I'm gonna go outside. The sun is shining. I'm gonna go to the nice little garden a little bit further and dance with my naked feet. And I'm gonna think about you, Mona.
Yeah, enjoy.
I'm gonna take you with me.
I just started dancing recently, and it gives so much freedom to just express what's there, and when you cannot really express it or whatever. So sing, dance. Give your voice a place. liberated.
Thank you.
Thank you so
very,
much.
very much, Mona.
I love you.
Bye.